Alright, hello everyone, and welcome to WWE Discussion. In today's episode, I'm going to discuss the August 15th edition of NXT. With just 1 week before Heatwave, NXT was ramping up with a big show for August 15th. Wes Lee and D-Jack would fight for an NXT championship opportunity at Heatwave against Carmelo Hayes. That was just the beginning of a night certain to set the rest of the card for Heatwave with a few surprises along the way. And with that, we're going to get into the action starting with
Von Wagner versus Baron Corbin at Heatwave. So, Corbin's new gimmick hasn't had much of a chance to make an impact recently. That match he had with Gable Stevenson, not very well received, but give him credit, he has done well with the time he has spent in NXT, elevating the talent around him. He has done well overall in NXT in the short amount of time he's been there, elevating the talent around him. And he did it here again, pushing Wagner into cutting his best promo yet. That may be a low bar. We give credit to Wagner as he's continuing to showcase more of his personality and having a gimmick that actually connects with the audience and gets over. So he and Corbin probably not going to have the best match at Heatwave, but it should be a good spotlight for Wagner, and also a pretty good win for him too. Might not be career defining, but this is certainly an intriguing matchup between two big guys here. The question is, will Baron Corbin go through the table? Most likely, but yeah, this match is official for Heatwave. Number one contenders match for the NXT Championship, Wes Lee versus D-Jack, or Dijak, whichever one you want to pronounce it. WWE has seemingly found some magic with these two competitors. This was a physical and intense match, both guys selling their battle wounds to set up big moments of vulnerability. The interference from Eddie Thorpe did kind of take some of the momentum away from the match, but not enough to distract from what those two did up to that point. Hopefully Dijak will get his own chance in the title scene after his feud with Thorpe is over. He remains one of the more underrated talents in NXT. And Wes Lee winning here sets up a money match. It is going to be Lee versus Hayes at Heatwave. And Heatwave, well, it's just not a big enough stage, especially with only 1 week of hype. A rematch at No Mercy is something NXT should consider, and this is probably something that's something I'm gonna end up repeating multiple times throughout this episode. And then the show ends with the contract signing, making this match indeed official: Wes Lee versus Carmelo Hayes at Heatwave. So the segment was rushed, but these two brought everything they could with the time that they had before Heatwave. And while the A champion always has solid singers and is generally unmatched on the mic, Lee's determination here was noticeable. Despite the build showing Lee as apparently the bad guy, the promo exchange ended with Lee looking more like the good guy. Granted, it probably won't matter. The crowd's probably going to be doing split reactions, maybe leaning more towards Melo. It will be a great match, but is this the right time for this match? And is this is this the right time for this match? It all matters what happens in this bout. Wes Lee certainly is the rare man in NXT that could dethrone Melo. If I remember correctly, he didn't beat Carmelo Hayes one-on-one for the NXT North American title, or did he? I know that Hayes was North American champion and Wes Lee was the one who ended his reign, but I remember one of those matches being a ladder match. I don't remember if there was a one-on-one match, but certainly Wes Lee as NXT champion is something that, from a credibility standpoint, it would work. It would make sense. It would work. But it probably won't happen at Heatwave if Wes Lee is indeed the guy that they want to be the NXT North American champion, or the next NXT champion. And if that is their plan, or maybe not their plan, but talking about Heatwave feeling too soon, rematch at No Mercy. No, I'm not a fan of rematches between two people fighting for a title if the champion's just going to win again, but given the fact that, again, Wes Lee could be the guy to dethrone Hayes, or he has the build of a guy who could, a rematch at No Mercy would have more intrigue, because you feel like, okay, maybe Wes Lee comes up short at Heatwave, but the second time around he does win. So this is a money matchup, and wouldn't make sense for this to just be a one-off, and it doesn't quite feel like it's going to be a one-off. So in conclusion, this was a building show. The action was average at best, except for Wesley versus Dijak, and that is generally a great match every time. However, the stories continue to build towards Heatwave. The card NXT has put together looks good and highlights fresh talent. If what NXT has built pays off at Heatwave, this could be a breakout night for NXT. The show continues to rise in the ratings, aided by the presence of the North American Champion Dominic Mysterio and the Women's World Champion Rhea Ripley, who will be competing at Heatwave in a mixed tag team match against Dragon Lee and Lyra Valkyria. So NXT, hopefully they are ready to go big on Heatwave. Let the rising stars shine, create moments that can last to No Mercy and beyond. And I think they could. And this is a pretty solid card that they have for Heatwave, and yeah, it's a solid match card. It's a shame that it has to be on TV, because commercial breaks generally, or commercial breaks can hinder a matchup, which I don't quite understand why they can't just do commercial breaks after the match, and I don't know why that's not a thing. There probably is a reason. It's probably not a good reason, but it would be nice if, like a special edition show like this, if we can just have commercial breaks after the matches. Nonetheless, though, I think NXT will go big with Heatwave. I think it will create some lasting moments to No Mercy and beyond. Also on this episode of NXT, cannot conclude this episode without talking about it, but Mr. Foley, a great promo he cut here. You'd have to imagine that might be the North American title match at No Mercy, assuming that WWE can keep Dominic Mysterio pulling double duty until then. And with that will conclude this episode of WWE Discussion. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to hit that like button down below.